This movie was made by Peck Hershey in 1935 to 1939, in color, an 8mm movie. Hershey was a mobile gas dealer as well as a Chevrolet dealer here in town. The building in the center of the picture, the masonry building with the arch on the top and the tall chimney, is the Fokker building, built in 1925. Later, it became the Garden City Municipal Building. In 1965, Orrin Mazzoni bought the building for Orrin Jewelry Business, and it's still there today. The buildings on the right were the Penrod Shield store, the two-story building, and then Scotty Muir's Meat Market, Pop Dennis Shoe Repair, Ed Hinchel's Barbershop, and later the Garden City Cleaners, and you will see more of this later on. Note Ford Road being one lane each way, an abundance of parking in front of the buildings, as well as the telephone poles in the front on Ford Road. Chief Nagel getting into his car is someone everybody looked up to, because Art Nagel was about 6'5", getting in his 35 or 36 Ford. Pop Dennis and his daughter Thelma going to their shoe repair shop. Ed Hinchel, the barber, and Ed's pretty friendly, and if you smile watching this movie, he will wave. Otto Schatz, a real estate and insurance dealer here in town, just east of the theater. 1957, Schatz's building burned, and he bought Folker's Realty building up front. Yes. Barney Hanlon, who had the Garden City department store in the back of the Folker building, where you could buy your clothes and such. E.J. Miles, our first Justice of the Peace in the village of Garden City, 1927 to 33. Later, he became mayor in 1944 of Garden City, entering the original City Hall on Ford Road. The building on the left with the white wood is the Shields Penrod grocery store, better known as the Red and White store. Across the street is the Stone Rock grocery store. This building, located behind Hershey's gas station on the southwest corner of Ford Middlebelt, is the Garden City Review building where our paper was printed. Note this gentleman making sure that his car is locked. This is quite unusual for the period of time. Carl Havlin, our city clerk in those days, was quite a snappy dresser. The Garden City Presbyterian Church, located on John Hawk and Middlebelt, built in 1928. The church originally started in the area in 1832. The manse was built to the south of the building in 1941. In the mid-50s, they extended the rear of the church and added an educational wing. The original City Hall. Next, we view the Garden City Lumber, and today, on the extreme left side of the building, 2007, you would see Boland's Florist. The big house is the John Hawk house, and John Hawk was a farmer here for many, many years. In 1922, he felt Garden City was getting too crowded, so he had the real estate subdivide his property and sell it off, and he moved to Fort and Canton, where there was many, many less neighbors. 1939, Paul Caldwell bought the home and started his funeral business, which he ran up into the early 80s. Right to the west of Caldwell's funeral home was the building that Dr. Vogel started the Garden City Medical Center in the latter part of the Second War. and then Dr. Schmidt got the building and continued his dental business up into the 80s. The Big White House is a straight house. 5 straight brothers came to Garden City in 1850 and started farming here. They were very successful farmers. In the late 30s, you could enter the house through the tunnel off of Ford Road in what was called the Bomb Cellar, being a bar. If you didn't get enough there, you could go down to Ford and Merriman to the Merriman Inn. And the Merriman Inn was there for years and years. St. Raphael's Catholic Church. Note the wooden building on the north being the school. The church itself was built in the early 30s. This being 2007, the church recently celebrated their 75th birthday. In the early 50s, they built a new church located on the other side of Beechwood, and the original church was torn down. The school was later replaced with a brick and mortar building which stands today. This church, the United Methodist, was built probably about 1895. However, the building had been moved to this area from Perrinville. The church denomination started here in 1825 with the arrival of the first settler, Marcus Swift, who was a circuit rider. In 1958, the church built a new building, the current building, which is at Merriman and Maplewood today. Courier's Lumber today is an insurance company. Just to the west is Joe Higgins Bar and Joe Higgins Pharmacy. The state came in and said to Joe, "You're selling liquor in both places, you have to get rid of one." So he closed the bar and he made it a variety store. To the left, you will see the first Kroger store in Garden City, and later you will see the second Kroger being built. Now you're viewing the Garden City Schaefer Theater, built in 1939, later to become the La Parisienne, which closed up in about 84. The little building to the east of the theater is Folkers Realty, later to become Schatz Realty, an insurance company. Now we're viewing the number 1 school, built in 1927, the first brick and mortar school in Garden City. Later, they extended the school in 1937 and 39. Note the playground equipment, which you will not see today. In 1920 to 25, Garden City built 3 wooden schools, 2-room and 3-room. This is number 2 school located at Henry Ruffin Brown. However, this is the original number 1 school, which had moved off the number 1 property in 1928 after the brick and mortar building was built, and was taken to this current location. This is the number 4 school located on Balmoral and Craig. Today you would find it on the Maplewood Senior Center property. Next we see the construction of the second Kroger store in Garden City. Located on Ford Road, just west of Middlebelt. Not the current Kroger store, which is on Middlebelt. To the left of the new Kroger store, in 1962, the first Kmart in the world was built in Garden City. Bob Holland, our second mayor, crossing the street. Art Nagel and the boys getting together, and someone told a joke, and look at the beautiful old cars. Hershey being a mobile dealer, I believe this is why he took this picture of the refinery, which is probably somewhere downriver, but we really don't know where. Note the pollution in the air. In those days, nobody thought anything about that, unlike today. The structures built with 1-quart oil cans are at a gas station at Tireman and Greenfield in Detroit. The gentleman standing against the building is Peck Hershey, who had returned to his former workplace to take pictures. You see the old Coke ice machine, the old pumps, and the wonderful price of gas, 8 gallons for 99 cents. Just to the right of the stairs is Nellie's Restaurant. To the rear is the Garden City department store in the back of the Fokker building. The Fokker building was also used for the 9th and 10th grade on half-day sessions. The 11th and 12th graders had to go to the Fortune High School in Dearborn to complete high school. Note how we park on Middlebelt. Next, we find the First Baptist Church, built by the congregation in 1938. Note, the exterior of the building has not changed in all these years. In the distance, you see the big white house at Brant and Dawson, built by a gentleman in the 1920s from a Sears Roebuck pre-cut catalog. Later, this house was bought by Dr. Vogel. This building, just north of Beechwood Middlebelt, still exists today. However, a couple of years ago, they redid the outside, and it's always been a doctor, a chiropractor, or someone in this building. St. Matthew's Lutheran Church, dedicated in 1939, was on the property where the current Kroger is at Middlebelt and Beechwood. The school was built later to the south of the building. In 1965, the church moved to a new location at Beechwood and Benoit. The big white tower was the high-speed gas station by Jerry Green. Next door was McFarland's Realty, and next door is Kel's Bar. Kel's Bar was Stoops, Joe Lee's, and today Joe D's. Next is Mickey's Beauty Parlor. Next, we see Ford Road Lumber, located across from the Dairy Queen today. Note renting a home, 4-room furnished for $20 a month. Ford and Inkster coming into Garden City, and note the lack of homes in the area. The Studebaker dealership in Garden City, located just north of Marquette on Middlebelt. After the Second War, Roy Closser bought this building and used it for his bulldozer business.